What's going on, restaurant owners? I want to tell you about the fun we're having and the connections we're making over at Restaurant Unstoppable Network. As a matter of fact, if you're enjoying the podcast, you're going to love the network because the network just mirrors what's happening on the podcast, but we're just going deeper and making connections. Not only am I connecting you with the leading restaurateurs on the podcast, I'm connecting you with the experts that they're going to become unstoppable. Just this week, the co-owners of Relish Bar and Restaurant in Houston, Texas joined us, and they brought their realtor with us, and we went deep into advice on site selection. We also had time to talk about tip pooling. It was great. You don't need to break the bank on restaurant coaching and consulting. All you truly need is peers, people who can reinforce that you are taking the next right best step, and access to an amazing network of the best. I can't wait to see you there. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro.
With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, chef and co-owner of Foreign and Domestic and Commerce Café, Sarah Hurd. Sarah, my lady, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I'm feeling unstoppable.
I'm feeling unstoppable. I love reconnecting with past guests. This is the second time you're on the show. It's crazy to think the first time I had you on the show was 8 years ago, 2018.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It was when I was first traveling the country. I had my Honda Fit and I was sleeping in that thing. And you were a great guest. That was episode 564. If you want to go check that out, our listeners, if you want to get caught up here, Sarah's come up, her backstory. It was truly an inspiring story. I forgot how much of inspiration you were. You're 19 years old. You became the executive sous. Yeah. The boys were telling you couldn't do it, and you ended up taking over their jobs. I loved it. It was a great story. And then you went on. Ned Elliott took over Foreign and Domestic. It took you 6 months to figure out how to get the financing to pull it off, and you pulled it off. It's truly an inspiring story. I recommend you guys go check that one out. Again, 564. But today we're going to cover the last 8 years, and I can't wait to dive into, where you are today and how you got to where you are today. But let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
Absolutely. I would say people come first. Without a team that has the same goal that you do, you're not going to go anywhere fast.
People come first without the same goal. Wait, say that one more time.
Without the same goal, or without a team that has the same goal, you're not going anywhere fast.
What is your goal?
To make people happy, to make a restaurant where people feel comfortable coming in and they crave it. They want that hospitality.
Are you making people happy?
I hope so.
Yeah. And I think at the core of it, that's what hospitality is all about, is just seeing people and making people happy. And I wish there was a way to measure that. And how are we, how do we measure success based off of that?
Outside of Yelp.
Yeah, well, anyway, let's not start on such a dark note. So before we kind of dive into the last 8 years, help me kind of understand where your businesses are today.
Yeah. So Foreign and Domestic just last year celebrated its 15th anniversary. We've been here for 8. So it's like the tipping point. We finally feel like it's ours. And it's had ups and downs, of course. We had COVID, was wild. That's also a dark point that I love.
We'll touch on it, but I don't want to spend too much time there.
No, me neither. Never again. And we've gone through a lot of changes, a lot of iterations, a lot of small revamps to try to stay relevant. But the reality is it's a 15-year-old restaurant and it's difficult. It's a whole different set of talked about you
challenges. Painting your lines on the parking lot the last time we were here. And I noticed and I was it's been about again. 8 years.
Yeah, it's time again. It's time for sure.
So how many seats in Foreign Domestic?
42 inside. And then we, during COVID, added the patio, which at its peak, we had 2 tents out there and we had an additional 35-ish seats.
How many additional seats today?
Today, we have 17.
So on all cylinders, you're right about 60 seats, right about 60 seats, full service.
Absolutely.
And relatively small menu.
It's decently small. I'd say it's in the mid-range.
Would you say casual fine? Elevated?
Yeah. Elevated a little bit, but we've gone more in the last couple of years towards comfort and flavor versus Instagram.
Okay. Are you comfortable sharing numbers?
Yeah.
So I would love to get percent profit. And if you're comfortable sharing revenue, I would get that too, but no pressure there.
Yeah. 2025, we did about 1.2 million, which is down but not by as much as it could be. And we're sitting at about 6% profit.
Okay.
Last year, we actually were in the red. This year, we've made a lot of changes.
I can't wait to get into that.
Yeah, to try to navigate the new landscape that we're in.
Yeah, and that's really what we're here to do, is to unpackage the growth, the evolution, the learning, and to pay that forward. So that covers foreign and domestic. And where are we at with Commerce?
Commerce is good. So it's our 5-year-old baby. We opened in May of 2020, right during the shutdown. I think we were able to open at 25% when we opened. We have an event hall upstairs, so we're really focusing on the catering there and events. We just hired on a new sales coordinator, and she's fantastic.
Awesome. When you said 25% profit?
No, 25. We were able to open at 25% capacity.
I was going to say, what? Okay.
No.
This was COVID. Yeah.
No, Commerce is, it's a different demographic. We were a little early to Lockhart, so we're finally starting to see less pushback on prices this year. But prior to us, we don't feel like there had been anything in Lockhart that was, scratch made, farm to table, focused on sustainability and the type of hospitality that we have at foreign and domestic.
So how many seats at Commerce?
60.
60. And is that full service as well?
It is, yeah. We started as counter service.
Okay.
That was our initial plan, but we felt like people were wanting full service, so we pivoted into that.
Yeah. And like, what kind of food are you doing there? Forgive me, I haven't had a chance to check it out.
No, you're good. It's so it's cafe food. So spaghetti bolognese, chicken fried steak, steak and potatoes, that sort of thing, but with the same farm to table sourcing, the same, sustainability, all from scratch. The popovers are there, the exact same burger is there.
I already destroyed my popover, but I'd show you guys. Maybe I can grab some B-roll before we leave. Yeah. They're delicious.
Awesome. And then it's just more relaxed, more welcoming, more small town.
Yeah. And what kind of revenue are you doing there?
There we're at about 600,000 for the year.
And is it profitable?
It has not been. We had one year that we profited a little bit, but we're pretty much breaking even right now.
And I appreciate the vulnerability. And I know you're a badass, and it's crazy what's happening out there right now. Yeah. And I think it's just the realities of the industry. It's really hard, so we're going to unpackage that more. But before we do, let's just go back to 2018 when I last spoke to you, what was going on around that time? Between 2018 and before the pandemic, how are you guys evolving?
So back then we were trying to make the menu here more welcoming, more, affordable, trying to find that balance between the upscale restaurant that it was and the neighborhood restaurant that it has to be because of location, and trying to figure out how to build a culture. That's something that we felt was missing at the time that we came in. And so building a culture in the restaurant has been a huge learning process.
And I'm going to be talking with popover shoved into my cheek because I cannot resist having one of these things. Thank you for sharing. So I remember when you took over, it was not really family friendly. So that was one of the things you were trying to do. You made it family friendly. You added a kids menu.
Yeah.
How did that change things?
We definitely see a lot more neighborhood support too. So not only do they come in, they're excited to show people, they post about it on Nextdoor, which is exciting. But also we're seeing people that had their first dates here, then they're pregnant, and then they bring their kids here.
You've seen families grow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
In terms of culture, how did you work on that? What was your approach and how has that changed?
So initially, I did what every chef does and tried to just be strict, and, that's not how we do things. And, over the years, I've learned that everybody responds to different methods of management. So that's been fun. But more taking a disappointed mom approach to corrections and, hey, I understand that you're frustrated, but this is something that we need to handle differently.
Get more into what the disappointed mom approach is.
It's, I know you can do better method. So, the line goes down and I'm like, I know you guys are better than this.
It's raising the bar. It's having high expectations, and it's nurturing people to be able to hit those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So what else did you do relative to the culture to swing things around?
We've definitely worked on creating a culture of tolerance and humanity in the restaurant. I think, and everybody's guilty of this, and I'm not going to say I'm not at all. But it used to be, you come in, you do your job no matter what. There's no tolerances. There's no, excuses. If you mess up, you're fired.
Is that the world you came up in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was scared shitless to have a bad service. But we understand that people have lives and that things are more difficult than they used to be. And we've definitely learned to give grace and space. So if somebody's having a rough day and we feel like we can cover it, we try to move them out, go take a day, take a rest, get what you need to do done, and come back. Servers, they'll come to me and say, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. This table's giving me a hard time. And I'll say, okay, go walk the block. Where are your tables right now? I'll go touch them. I'll make sure that everything's still moving. Go walk the block, take a breather, come back and jump back into it. And that's been huge. We're starting to see the staff do that for each other too. So that's really cool to see, instead of being, dog eat dog, they're, hey, let me help you, go do this,
I just have enlightened hospitality, like that expression from Danny Meyer just running through my head right now. Like, what is hospitality? It's warmth, it's generosity, it's caring. Right.
And how do you do that for others if you're not doing it for yourself and your team?
You have to start with yourself, and you have to, and it ripples out from there. And if you can focus on that, then to your point, your team starts to act like that. They start treating each other like that. Yeah. They start treating the guests like that. Then the guests are like, wow, this is awesome. We love this spot. And you make them better people. Yeah. And that's how we change communities.
Well, you can feel it when your server's being yelled at in the back. You can, it's less genuine, right? So if your server is genuinely happy at work, genuinely happy to do what they're doing and take care of you, that's a different feeling than a server who's having their job held over their head.
Right.
And they have to do it in order to keep their job.
Like, have you ever been screamed at?
Yes.
Like, where is your head for like the next 48 hours after that? Or at least the next 12 hours?
Well, and it's dysregulated.
Yeah.
I'm not functional. It doesn't fix anything. I'm not going to say that every now and then I don't yell, but usually it's after several other things have happened.
Do you think by yelling at somebody, you're going to snap them out of something and they're going to finish the shift better than they were before? No, they're going to be thinking about how they want to murder you.
Yeah. Or how they, they,
or guilt. Or
for
like
me,
whatever.
yeah, I go into my own head and then I feel shamed and then I'm embarrassed and then I can't focus. Usually if yelling occurs in this restaurant, it's the final.
And you retained a lot of your original staff, right? That was a big thing for Ned. He didn't want to get rid of anybody, even the executive chef.
Yeah. Yeah. We managed to, there's turnover, of course. We don't have any of our original staff from 8 years ago, but we generally see servers stay about a year, line cooks about a year and a half, with some exceptions. Right after COVID, we were hitting like a month and a half on some staff, like many staff. Turnover was absolutely insane. And I feel like it's finally evened out a little bit.
Okay. So in the 2 years from when I last spoke to you leading into the pandemic, what were the biggest points of evolution? And then we'll touch on the pandemic. I'm more interested in how the pandemic made you better thereafter. I don't want to talk about that 2 years of just like when it just sucked for everybody. Yeah. But like, what was the biggest evolution in the first 2 years between when I last spoke to you in 2020?
Yeah. So business-wise, since the pandemic, we've definitely leaned more into making our food takeout friendly. We've adjusted our sick policies tremendously. I think during the pandemic, we actually realized that it is possible to work without a person or to have enough people on staff to cover shifts when people are sick. So that's been a big one. And then menu wise, I think it's just the we consider how everything will plate in a box now, because we do significantly more takeout, even though it's not pandemic. People got used to it.
Interesting. So what were the biggest changes you made to your takeout game, or the biggest improvements you made to your takeout game?
We do a lot less garnishing with delicate herbs. Do some heavier herbs for garnish. We will test things to see, if I put risotto in a box, is it going to be a block by the time it gets to them? Is it going to be gross? We changed our takeout containers to be more considerate of presenting a dish versus just being your leftovers.
Yeah. What are you using for takeout containers?
Yeah, we have these black plastic boxes that I love a lot. They're also reusable. My house is stocked with them. So it feels better to put something out if we're going to do a lot of takeout that is reusable and that people are apt to reuse.
Yeah.
So we're not.
Are they expensive?
They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you pay that forward to the guests? Is that accounted for?
No.
Yeah.
No, we just eat it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What feedback are you getting from the guests with that stuff?
Honestly, nothing verbally, but I think the repeat guest taking food to go says something.
Yeah. Would you feel guilty if you did pay that forward to the guests?
It's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
We
I should push deeper.
We had a big debacle when we instituted the health insurance surcharge.
When was that? Fill me up.
What year was that? I think it was 2018.
Okay.
Not sure what month. It's been so long.
So you said reinstated the health insurance surcharge. What do we
just
mean by
when we instated it? So
instated.
We do a 3% surcharge on the bill. It's written on the menu. It's on the ticket.
Was that after I had you on the show?
I don't remember. I was
trying to think
that. Yeah, I think it must have been after, because I don't remember touching on that.
3% surcharge. So you're charging 3% fee basically to help pay for insurance for your staff.
And what it does is it allows us to have Blue Cross Blue Shield available to the staff.
Okay.
But people don't want to see it. Our menu, the prices are whole dollars. So if I were to add 3 pennies on the dollar, the menu prices would be all over the place. They wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
And we wanted it to be optional. So if you say, hey, I don't want to pay this, I don't want it to be part of my bill, the server can take it off with one push of a button. They don't even need a manager to take it off. But that was a huge frenzy on LinkedIn, and we ended up on Fox News. And
what was the frenzy? What were people saying?
That it wasn't okay to charge the guest for the insurance. My favorite comment of all was, well, the next thing they're going to do is add the electricity to the bill. And I was like, well, what do you think's paying it?
With people?
I was like, where do you think that's coming from?
Like, this is just how we love our guests.
Yeah.
Let's start by saying we love our guests. We can't do what we can't do. We
Exactly.
can't do what we do without our guests. We're here to serve them. But most people are wholly ignorant about how businesses are run.
Well, and 90% of the people that weighed in on the surcharge were not our guests. They weren't even in this state. They were people that had never heard of us before. But yeah, there's a ignorance to where things are paid for.
Right.
People think, oh, it's a steak, I can buy that at HEB, but they're not thinking about, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times, the cost to buy the tables, to buy new chairs when the chairs get destroyed, to keep the AC going, to, we have
pay your staff.
Right.
Give them a health
everybody
insurance.
wants us to pay the staff more and have, all these benefits for the staff, but they don't want to pay more for the burger.
Right.
Which is, an age old problem.
And you're doing food right too. I think it's worth pointing that out. Like, you're sourcing responsibly. You're using the whole animal. Like, you can't hire somebody off the street and pay them $10 an hour to be able to
Right.
do and cook at the level that you're delivering your food. It takes skill. And what about the fact that these people aren't cooking it themselves and they're able to sit down and be present and engage their family or friends or business, whatever? Like
Right.
that's all
Or they don't
value.
have to do the dishes. They
Right.
don't have to,
you
know,
leave, you go home.
you don't even clear the table.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to derail your train of thought.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, yeah, the industry is wholly ignorant, but not the industry, but the consumer, and many times the industry. But at the time, like
Restaurant owners, what if I told you there was a way to lower your prime cost by $1,000 and get paid $1,000 on top of that? If it sounds too good to be true, it's not. Restaurant Systems Pro is offering that deal right now to 10 of my lucky listeners. Listen closely. Join the Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day prime cost challenge, and if you successfully improve your prime cost by $1,000 or more compared to the same 30 days the year prior, they will pay you $1,000. Find the link in the show notes titled Restaurant Systems Pro 30-Day Prime Cost Challenge. Click that link and get signed up today. Only 10 people are going to get approved into this program. Get on it.
But at the same time, I think the reason why we are in this position is because we don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not sharing information.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that you would feel, let's bring it back to why you don't charge for the takeout.
Yeah.
So like, how do you rationalize? Like, what does that inner conversation look like?
It's fear. It's
Yeah.
fear of another, national blow up. And we don't have a PR company, so it's me. So all of those nasty comments and, believe it or not, death threats over
my
3 pennies
Lord.
on a dollar, they come straight to my phone.
Yeah.
So, I'm a mom too. So it was really hard to sit there with my daughter. I remember when it started, I was at a park with my daughter and she was 6 or 7. I can't remember exactly. And I remember trying to be mom because I had had so little time to be mom with her. And my phone was just blowing up and I was in a total panic and cortisol was,
Lord.
spiked and it was awful.
Yeah.
So fear, it's
it's tough out there. And, I would encourage you. I mean, I'm here to learn from you. I'm here to share your perspective, but I would encourage you to be unapologetic about charging exactly what you need to charge in order to be profitable in your business.
We're working towards it.
Yeah. And that means covering all of your expense. If it's if it's an expense, if you pay for it, then it has to, I come from the belief that you have to account for that and pay it forward.
So I think there's also the train of thought, because this has definitely crossed my mind. They're not taking up a table. They're not taking up the service of the server.
Yeah,
We're
even more
not
of service.
washing
You're
those
bringing it to their
dishes.
house.
We're not bringing it. They're picking it up.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we don't have to wash the plates. We don't
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
So there's some balance.
I admire where your heart is. But I think that our greatest strength in this industry is also our biggest weakness, is that
Right.
we're warm,
It's the
generous,
hospitality.
and caring, and almost too generous. You know, but I do love that you made the pivot to make that at home experience even better, because more and more people want those. They're leveraging these third party conveniences, and you have to think about, how does this present when it gets to their house? How can we serve it on a plate and in a box? I think those are all great questions to be asking yourself.
And a lot of that stemmed from during COVID. We were trying to do a lot of takeout. And one of my favorite places has phenomenal pasta. And I was so excited. And I got it in a box that it was one of those compostable, not cardboard, but kind of cardboardy boxes. And it had absorbed all of the sauce.
Oh, man.
And it was not good. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about our food and I was like, man, we really need to test things.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Any other changes post-pandemic? Technology, your relationship with handhelds.
Yeah.
I noticed that you're using Toast now.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That happened pretty early on. I can't pinpoint what year it was, but I think it was shortly after we talked last. So probably 2018 as well.
Yeah, you're using breadcrumb before.
Breadcrumb, yeah. And it was glitchy.
Yeah, they started off strong and promising, and they were purchased by Upserve. And then things kind of went downhill pretty fast thereafter. I was really excited about that company. I think Toast came in and kind of just made it hard.
They were like, we're the whole piece of bread, not just the crumb. I like Toast. It's growing really fast, and I think they've had some glitches. but overall, we use it for our catering software too, which is really nice that it seamlessly integrates. So for accounting, when somebody pays an invoice, it automatically categorizes and goes in, which is great. And then it automatically shows up on the catering software as confirmed. And
so when the invoice comes in, whether it came in as a catering or like in-house or delivery, like it knows, and then it segments.
Knows. Yeah, which is awesome.
What is unique about the catering features that you like, and when were those even an option?
Oh, they came about 2 years ago that I became aware of them. I'm not sure how long it had been there. But they're, number one, way cheaper than anything else. We had been looking at triple seat, which has...
being the catering feature.
Right, yeah. So Toast catering feature is significantly cheaper than like triple seat, which is what I had known from previous jobs. And it's cost prohibitive. It does have a lot of really cool features, but it wasn't something that we need.
What were the features that were there that you felt like you didn't need?
Not that we don't need them, but that
couldn't justify the
cost of things like floor plans and being able to change seating arrangements and all of those like really planner specific things. So with Toast catering, we're able to have the menu in the computer already. They just click the buttons just like they're putting in an order. Tallies everything up, auto populates it to a BEO, and sends the guest an invoice.
That's cool.
Yeah. The guest pays the invoice. It marks it as confirmed. And at that point, we print the BEOs. But the Toast, because it's all one program, knows exactly how to categorize that when that cash comes in. I can do the deposits with it seamlessly. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. Mm-hmm. And are you all in on Toast? Are you using their all the integrations?
Several of them. So we use Extra Chef, which is good. The inventory part of it it could use some fine tuning.
Yeah.
But I think they'll get there. And then we use the handhelds and
so table side ordering handhelds. Mm-hmm. A lot of the pushback with the handhelds early on was that it's not as hospitable. Do you think that that's the case?
Yes and no. So I think that, it adds a degree of technology to your hospitality, but what in our lives isn't technologically integrated right now? But also what it does is it allows the ticket to come back to the kitchen faster.
Right. No bottlenecks.
Right.
No
and then
mistakes.
You don't have servers when they get double seated. They're not sitting there and taking 2 orders and then going and waiting at the POS. So that first table that they took the order, right? Then they got to wait in line at the POS because the reality is the building's 1,300 square feet. We really only have room for 2 POSs and you're still shoulder to shoulder. So that first table, they take the order, they go to the second table, they take the order, then they go to the POS and they wait. And then both tickets go in at the same time. And then even though one table put their order in first, they're getting their food at the same time or second. If the tickets come in at the same time, the kitchen's not going to differentiate.
So it's more accurate as to what is happening in real time as it's going into the kitchen.
Logistically, it makes the bottleneck at the POS and the bottleneck at the kitchen dissolve.
Right. I think there's things we can do. Like as they're talking, are you entering it or are you talking to them, taking the order, making eye contact and going, okay, or maybe that's not as efficient. I don't know. What do you train your people to do?
Interesting. So we have servers that all do it different ways. We've tried to encourage them to do it how they feel comfortable, but to make sure that they are utilizing the device. We usually see when they first start using it, they'll hold the device. They'll kind of look at it to see if there's 86s and things. That's another thing that's great is they know in real time if something's 86.
They can't click the button.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're still at the table, so they don't have to come back and be like, oh my God, I'm sorry, which is a lot of time wasted. But some servers, when they start, they'll do it, how they normally do with the device in their hand, and then they'll go to the host stand and put it in, or they'll go, tuck into the wine area and put it in. But eventually we see them get comfortable enough with it that they're just doing it right at the table.
Yep. Back to Toast. Any other features? Or you mentioned the glitches. What were those glitches? I'm curious.
really weird. The menu editing has been split into 2 different sections.
Coffee order.
Oh. We love them. It's a Rudamaya. They're fantastic.
I don't think he knows we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So
Shout out to Rudamaya.
yeah, they're awesome. And he's great. He's been delivering since day one. Same guy.
Is that what we're drinking right now?
Mm-hmm.
It is delicious.
It is, yeah.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, and it's roasted in
Give
Austin.
me some of that roasted
Yeah.
in Austin.
Mhm.
Supporting local. I love it. Thank you very much. Keep going.
We always go medium roast.
Okay.
Good acidity.
Did I leave enough for you?
Oh yeah, there's plenty.
So we're talking about the glitches. I mean, I don't know. I like to. I'll be honest. Like I try to avoid partnering with big POS companies or big companies in general because I like to talk about them, and I'm worried that if I get money from them, I won't be able to say the bad side.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's really important that we don't let these big tech companies influence the narrative in the industry, especially have control and influence over the media that's supposed to be reporting on these things. So I'm always interested to like really get the honest opinion, the honest review of these platforms. So I appreciate you letting me push.
So it's, the glitches are menu editing right now is still split. It's been multiple years. They have 2 different sections. You can do certain things on some sections and certain things on the other section, but not all of them on both. Some of them you can do on both. It gets a little confusing. But the big glitch has been with their payroll right now with onboarding. They do these updates, right? And it changes things, and they don't tell you that they're going to do the updates. They don't tell you what things it's going to change. So you onboard somebody, and right now I'm having a glitch where I will onboard 2 people the exact same way, same position, and one of them I will have to go into the old employee section outside of payroll where it has all these banners that say do not edit in this section, and I have to click on a button to give them POS access. But the other person, it went through just fine. So there's some weird little technological glitches.
Yeah. So you have to remember these are all like little micro habits that you have to remember.
Yeah. Well, and it's always it's a little embarrassing because these 2 people start. I onboard them both. One of them can clock in, and the other one's like, I don't know, my number's not working.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it didn't work.
Do you guys want to hire me?
Yeah. Like I don't know that it's not working until the staff member is like, hey, the only way to navigate that would be for me to drive to the restaurant and physically try their number when I onboard them, which is not
convenient. Right. I've heard too through the grapevine that Toast is really starting to pull back on their open API, which was what made that platform so interesting in the first place, is that they had open API.
I don't know what that means.
It basically means that the technology the integrations, a lot of technology prior to that was closed. They didn't want things to move. They wanted to own like that technology, and they wanted to like make a one-stop shop for everything. But Toast came along and said, no, we're going to make it so that we have a bunch of technology partners. We're going to have an open API, and everything's going to flow. So no matter what other technology you're using, there's an integration, so we can all play nice together. But I've been hearing that they're kind of pulling back on that, and that they're really starting to make it a more closed platform. So you have to go all in. They're I don't know if they're purchasing. And I need to say I'm not exactly sure how they like Extra Chef. Do they own Extra Chef, or is that like a partnership, or was it once on its own where there was integration? They said we're going to buy you. Like I don't know. I could talk to people who probably know more about all the history of Toast. If you're out there and you're like a hardcore like POS nerd, let me know. I'd love to learn from you. But I have heard that things are getting a little more restricted and less open. And I was curious if you're finding that, but it sounds like it's off your radar.
Not necessarily. I think our only outside integration that we have is with OpenTable, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
We don't rely on it, that's for sure. But it is nice to be able to see on OpenTable like guest spend and what they ordered previously, especially when we get a bad review.
Yeah.
Then we go look at that reservation instead of having to go hunt it down on the computer. We can pull up their ticket, which is great. But otherwise, I think we are all in with their partnerships. They did want us on Toast tables for a while, and we didn't feel like it had the marketing network that OpenTable does, and that's super important.
It's a big part of what you're paying for, is that third party like marketplace.
Yeah.
You said something about toast that's,
Mm-hmm.
and I was too busy listening that I forgot. I do want to talk about Open Table.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the toast question will come back to me. So Open Table, you were really happy with them back in 2018. And it was around that time that Open Table was starting to catch a lot of heat for their business model.
Mm-hmm.
You've been with them since then.
We have. We became unhappy with them. At some point, our bill was like $1,800 a month.
Wow.
And it was just not doable. And then we're looking at, Resi. They're like,
You were
like
originally with
300.
Resi. You left Resi,
Resi.
went to Open Table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is why I love getting past guests back on the show, because it's like, what's happened since? How are things evolving?
Mm-hmm. But ultimately, we got some quotes from some other places. We talked to our rep at Open Table. They put us into, I think it's called like some sort of legacy program. And they gave us some deals to make it doable because they want us on the platform, which is great. And then
but reputation. If you see, foreign and domestic is there, then that to other restaurants, monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
So if you leave, well, foreign and domestic seems like they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What do they know that I don't? I'm going to go with Resi,
Yeah.
And
Resi's, I think, made a lot of changes for the better. I've heard a lot of great things. But
yeah, they have come a long way.
Yeah.
So, you were considering them. Why was it because Open Table was able to come? Did you make that threat that we're thinking about going to Resi?
We did talk to them about it, but ultimately I think a huge part of us staying was that I like our rep.
Open Table's rep.
David. Yeah. He's awesome. Super helpful. They just felt like they really wanted to keep us. Like there was the hospitality side from them, right? They didn't just hear the threat that we're going to leave and say, okay, well, this is the best deal I can do. Take it or leave it. They said, how can we work with you? And ultimately what we're in is a program where we can kind of throttle how much we're spending with them on the advertising. So if we're just like getting absolutely packed and don't need any, I can just pull that throttle off and we're not paying for any advertising from them.
Got it.
Until we need it again.
That's cool. How do you remember to do that in the middle of a rush?
Well, it's not like a middle of the rush thing. So the advertising is more of like, are we getting put at the top of their list? Are we paying to be, priority placement?
So if they're seeing that you're booked, they'll just, it's automatic.
No, we do it.
Okay.
But if I start seeing like, cause that's, marketing's not like we're just busy one day, right?
Yeah.
So we throttle it. It's more of like, if we're busy, for a month and a half, then I'm going to go ahead and pull that back a little bit,
Got it.
and then put it back on when we get slow again.
And I love what you said. And it reminds me, have you ever heard the expression, people don't work for restaurants, they work for people?
Mm-hmm.
People don't work for restaurants, they work for leaders, managers that they like. And when that leader or manager goes to a different restaurant, like they bring a wave of people with them. I think it's true with, tech companies is that people don't work with technology. They work with people.
Right.
And I think that there's this real trend towards in with some companies, I won't name the ones, but a lot of big companies that they doubled down so much on features and costs that they can't afford to keep the good people, and they're starting to get rid of the sales reps, the people, that the relationship side of things. What are your thoughts as I'm saying this?
Like I said, that's why we're with Open Table. Like our reps, so one of the reps that I love also is US Foods, and we hesitated to use any big broadliners for a long time because it didn't feel like it fit our ethos, right? But one of our old chefs ended up working with US Foods and was like, hey, I know who you guys are. I know, how to make this work for you guys. And then we started seeing how we could cut cost on things like, to-go cups and to-go supplies and silly things like that. So we're picky and choosy what we use with them. But what I have noticed is that our rep, his name's Johnny, even if I mess up on the order, he's on it. Like he will drive to the warehouse, pick it up, and bring it out to Lockhart if I need it. Just yesterday, actually, I always put in my order Sunday for Tuesday. And apparently something glitched, something happened, and it didn't submit. So he texted and said, hey, I see you have items in your cart, but nothing got submitted. It's usually in on Sunday. Do you want me to push it through? instead of just letting it, come Tuesday, my order doesn't come in and I don't know what's going on. So,
yeah, it's that human element of anticipating and empathizing with, I don't think this is right.
Right.
And then your brain starts to figure, oh, how is this possible? I'm just going to reach out.
Yeah. And I'm sure they could train like AI to send me an email, but I'm just going to ignore the email.
Right.
Right. A text from my rep.
A person is like, I don't want to leave this person hanging.
Yeah.
There's something there. There's that human connectivity. Was Johnny the past chef that you had your rep?
No, his name's Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
But it was Austin who said, I think that there might be an opportunity for you with US Foods. Yeah. How did he convince you? What did that conversation look like?
They just sat down and, he had a pretty intimate knowledge of what we actually use product wise. So he brought it all to us, took away some of the guesswork, did some comparisons, helped us sit down and really look at things and see how it would benefit. Also brought us in on some programs for rebates with things. And at the time that we started using US Foods, we were not in the black. We were definitely in the red. We were starting to panic a little bit, thinking, how are we going to cut cost? So that was a big part of it, cutting cost on things that are silly, like paper cups and, to-go silverware and paper towels for the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
how were you able to move the needle with US Foods once you made that switch? Like, how did that manifest on your P&L?
I don't have exact numbers on it, but we definitely started seeing that cost of goods was
whole
going
points?
down.
Were you moving whole points? Like,
I would say we moved at least a point.
Okay. Awesome. And I want to point out US Foods is a sponsor. I did not know that you were using US Foods when I showed up here.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And the reason why I'm working with them is because I've been getting testimonials like this, and I'm very intentional about who I get into relationships with because I only want to promote the best. And I've been really impressed with US Foods.
Yeah,
so,
they feel like the small town broadliner.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're considering a switch, consider US Foods. Mention Restaurant Unstoppable if you can think of it. I don't know if it'll get up to the executive level, but any support, letting them know that this thing is getting the word out will help. Thank you. Yeah. So we talked about Toast. We talked about Resi, Open Table. Back to Open Table. That's another company that I feel like has made a turnaround. So you talked about how they're willing to give you the legacy. Resi was coming up for a while and really giving them a run for their money still. It's like neck and neck. So if it wasn't for that legacy and being able to honor those original rates, do you think you would have made the switch to Resi?
Actually, I think Toast Tables was our closest contender just because of pricing. Like if we were going to make the switch, we were going to go because of pricing.
Got it. But they didn't have the marketplace. Resi and Open Table have a decent marketplace. I just remember the question I was going to ask you earlier. I'm going to make a note though. I don't want to come back to it yet. General ledger. So how has Open Table changed the game, or not the game, but their game?
Little things that have helped a lot. Like I can now access what's called the timeline on my phone, which is great. I do. So
what is the timeline?
The timeline is basically just a list of tables versus a floor plan. So you can see the tables and they have blocks where each table is going to be seated. So if the table is seated for 2 hours, it blocks that timeline for 2 hours on that table. And what I can do is kind of slide them around and play Tetris with the tables.
Like a Gantt chart? Do you know that term? A Gantt chart? It's like a visual. It's vertical though.
Yeah, it's vertical.
It's just I think a Gantt chart. It's basically like a timeline, but I think you can go either vertical or horizontal. But it just kind of gives you a mental picture of like what's going on.
Yeah, and that has been really great. Because I do a lot of reservations over the phone from home. Our phone pushes, we use Google Voice, and it pushes to my phone if nobody answers here. So to be able to actually talk to people and they're like, I can't get a reservation on an Open Table, and I can sit there and move the tables around on my phone now is fantastic. Doing it on the floor plan is the screen's just not big enough to do that. So little things like that. I could probably brainstorm and figure out a couple more.
But what I've heard is that they kind of had some shady practices in the past. Like they knew that they were the number one big dog and that the restaurant needed them. And then when the market got a little bit more competitive,
Mm-hmm.
people started to say, F you.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't fair. Like, you're like,
Yeah.
I think similar practices to like what Yelp does, where they like disproportionately push restaurants that pay more or something. I don't know exactly. Does any of that ring a bell? Or
I didn't dig into any of that. I do know that we had a lot of questions on our bill for a while. Like, why is this so high? What is going on? But they addressed it as soon as we brought it up.
Yeah. I know Resi recently acquired TikTok, not TikTok, Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Just Talk.
I forgot about them.
Yeah, well, now they're Resi. I don't know if they buried the technology or if they've integrated that into their
Mm-hmm.
platform, to be honest. And I also know now that American Express owns Resi.
Oh, wild.
And this stuff scares me.
Yeah.
When I say that, what do you think?
I immediately thought, like, are there going to be kickbacks? So, like, if you use Resi, you get charge less percentage on Amex
As
purchases.
like a restaurant owner or
Right.
as a consumer?
No, as a owner, like
Yeah.
the percentage that you pay, are they gonna have kickbacks for that?
Well, just also American Express having all that consumer data and behavior and
Mhm.
like, I really worry about the future of the restaurant industry when these big companies, giant companies, have that much influence over consumer behavior.
Yeah.
Google's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they own, like, the answer to good marketing right now, if you ask any marketing expert, is Google. Google's the answer.
Yeah,
And
I'm
nobody bats an eye at that. Like,
Yeah.
is this a good thing that Google has all this consumer behavior that they can,
Yeah.
like, who has the relationship with the guest today?
Mm-hmm.
Is it third-party giant tech conglomerates or is it restaurant owners?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah. And if anybody out there listening to this, I don't want to push too hard today. I would love to talk to people who understand the is it ramifications? Am I using that right?
Sounds right.
I'm like, isn't that like a porcelain thing too? I don't know. The impact of this.
Mhm.
Please reach out to me. I'd love to educate myself more because I don't want to say too much out of line. Okay, so we're still kind of like, we're talking about some of the tech. We kind of got into tech stack and those changes you've made. Anything else relative to tech stack?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, we did integrate AI into our answering service.
What are you using? Google
Slang.
Slang.
Yeah. So Slang was able to integrate with the Google Voice, which is great. And it does some good things.
What's it doing for you?
So it answers the phone initially, and it'll answer like the basic questions like, do you allow pets on the patio? Do you have liquor? You know, those questions. And then we still get several that come all the way through. So if you say certain things, it'll push you through to the restaurant phone, which then pushes to me if nobody answers. But some of that came about because one, we can only afford to have one host during service. So if they're at a table, they can't answer the phone if they're seating a guest. And then also people get absolutely livid if we don't answer the phone outside of restaurant hours.
Yeah.
So trying to navigate that, it's been okay, but we have some guests that are really frustrated with it sometimes, and
That they don't get a human.
yeah, you know, some people aren't accustomed to navigating that system.
Or just having isn't it meant to be kind of like you talk to it like anything else?
Right. Yeah. It's supposed to be conversational, but you know, when they don't get the answer they get angry, or they want to do something crazy. They're like, I want to change my reservation to add 5 people to it. And it's like, you can't do that. And
Right. Until you get the Slang AI to integrate with Google and OpenTable. And that's all like on the horizon.
Well, even it does integrate, with the reservation. So you can make a reservation through Slang.
Yeah. You can now be driving down the road, say, hey, Siri, I want to make a reservation for foreign domestic, blah, blah, blah. And like, it will all get done. I'm waiting for my phone to start talking to me right now. Sorry, I'm good.
Yeah. But being told no by a robot versus a human has a different
A little more compassion there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people do get frustrated with that. Speaking of the Hey Google thing, we had an issue at Commerce Café. So we do take reservations there, but we don't have like a reservation system. We just pen and paper. We don't do a lot of them, right? It's more like, hey, I have 14 people coming, those types of reservation. But we've had a slew of people using Google Concierge or something to call the restaurant and make a reservation. But it's not going through. Like, it'll go through to the voicemail, and somehow it thinks that because it left a voicemail, it has a reservation. And then people come in and they're like, I have a reservation. And we're like, no, you don't. So that's been really weird. But I did figure out how to turn it off. But I was frustrated with our Google listing because it added that on its own. It was like it updated, all of a sudden that was a thing, and we had no idea what was going on.
And is the customer going to be pissed off at Google?
No, not at all. They're pissed off at the restaurant.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like if all of consumer behavior hinges on one entity, or consumer habit hinges on one entity, and that entity like has so much power, like, but I worry that like restaurant owners are like, oh, I just have to do this because if I don't do it, then my competition is going to do it, and I'll be left in the. But what are we sacrificing for convenience?
Right.
You know, what are we sacrificing to make the guest happy? I think it's a question we really need to ask, and we need to talk to each other and say, like, who's winning here? You know, the other question that came back to my head is relative to toast. You're using Chef Tech or Extra Chef. Thank you very much. Is that a general ledger, Extra Chef, or like, are you doing all of your basically like, does it serve like QuickBooks?
So I know that we still have QuickBooks in place.
You're still using it and it integrates with Toast?
This is more of Nathan's wheelhouse. But I know that it integrates really well.
Okay. Okay. I think we've covered a lot of the tech stack. I like going deep into that. So thank you for letting me do that straight out of the gates. In terms of what got us here, where we're talking about post-pandemic, where you started changing your to go and evolving your technology. You just mentioned Nathan's name, partners in the business. Yeah. You guys bought this together, foreign and domestic, where we're sitting today. Talk to me about how that partnership has evolved over the past 8 years.
Yeah.
Two chefs, you know,
both savory chefs.
I was curious about that the last time I spoke to you, because typically when you get into partnerships, it's like you're finding complementary partners. Like I'm front of house, you're back of house, divide and conquer, but you had two chefs. So how have you guys found your lanes within the back of house?
I think honestly, the one thing that I never thought I'd experience, because no young chef thinks that they're going to deal with it, is burnout. And luckily for us, I think that we've kind of alternated burnout stages. So
when was your burnout stage?
I'm in it right now.
Thank you for getting open and vulnerable.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
Take me there.
But over the years, you know, you have a month or two of just being over it, and it's great to have another chef to take over and run the specials and you know, keep things moving. For me right now, there's been a lot to the burnout. Some of it's physical. I finally, I'm getting older.
You were 24 when you purchased?
28 when we purchased. Okay. 37 now, which is a lot in restaurant years.
I'm 40. It doesn't get it.
Last year, so I've struggled with migraines for about 8 years. If you place that timeline on top of another one. Yeah. I've had them my whole life, but they got really bad for the last 8 years. It had gotten to where I was having 3 a week. Ugh. And they were pretty debilitating. Finally, last January, I had what's called a thunderclap migraine, ended up in the hospital. It was terrifying. Had lots of, tests done, and they told me that I have several lesions on my brain from the migraines. But otherwise, there's nothing physically wrong with me. It's all lifestyle.
What you said, lesions from
like scars?
Scars? Like, yeah. I had no idea that you could injure yourself from a migraine.
Yeah. Every time you have a migraine, you run the chance of getting a lesion. Every time you get a lesion, you run the chance of it being in a spot that could paralyze you or kill you, or do nothing. Which I'm luckily, I have had good placement on those. But it was terrifying. They came back. They told me it's all lifestyle, right? So you need to change your lifestyle.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what did they tell you? Like, what is do they know what caused
Stress.
this? Stress.
It's chronic stress, being, constantly in the restaurant, living, our house, all the broken equipment is at our house waiting to be fixed. So you walk in the door, you see everything that still needs to be done. There's no relaxing. We live together, or we did. And you get home and it's, oh, this person did this. We need to fire this person. We need to figure this out. The AC's broken. You just never stop. So there's no downtime.
Yeah. And it's like, it's easier said than done to just cut it off.
Yeah.
Leave it at work because there's not enough hours in the day at work.
Right. To do what
address
needs to be
everything.
Done. But if you just push yourself to continuously do it all day, every day, until, you're in bed at 1:00 in the morning on the computer running payroll. So if you allow that of yourself, you're never going to push yourself to figure out alternate ways to do it. You're never going to push yourself to delegate if you're like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. The martyr mentality is deadly.
Right.
Right. So I had to start, adjusting what my role is in the restaurant, learning to not take things so personally. I told you the reviews come straight to my phone. All the PR stuff comes straight to my phone. I've got every alert on the planet set. But I've learned to not panic and open it when it pops up. There's a lot of mental work done on that. To not be like, ooh, piece of candy, open it, check it. I now wait to do that until I'm at work. I see the notification. I know that I need to do it in the morning, but I don't do it at home. Started going to the gym. It was huge for me. I didn't realize how physically out of shape I was until I started going to the gym. And from there, once I started getting that movement and that almost meditative state that you get when you're working out, started feeling less burnout, started feeling, more creative at work. Even
frees the mind.
It does.
Yeah.
Just taking that little break from work where I'm not thinking about work while I'm on the treadmill or lifting weights, allowed me when I am at work to feel more invigorated about it.
Well, I think too, like to your point, all the stress, all this, like we're these creatures that are very sedentary relative to our ancestors,
right?
Where we would have to get up, do manual work to go find the food, forage for it, dig, climb whatever trees. Like we had to like move or go chase down a mammoth, one of the things that makes us unique is our endurance to go chase down something. And we're running like 5-10 miles just to or more. And eventually the animal just gets so exhausted from heat or whatever, but we're just sweating. Right. We're fine. We're endurance animals. But we need that outlet.
Yeah.
And when we have a place to put all this pent up energy and stress, like we need to get it out.
Yeah.
And it's so important to exercise. Like I hadn't been great about it until recently. I'm making it a point to go exercise. I was just talking to my girl. Thank you very much. I was just talking to my girlfriend. I was like, oh man, I've been so busy traveling to get out to Texas.
Yeah.
Like you don't you get out of your routine. And I was like, I just went for a run.
And you miss it, right?
She's like, you seem really relaxed. I was like, I just ran 5 miles and I was like, I feel great. I'm just like, and you miss it. Your body needs it.
I got sick off and on for the last 3 months with Cedar, and we worked ACL. I got the stupid ACL flu and all that stuff, sinus infections, and I haven't been able to go to the gym, and it's been awful because I'm also learning to not push myself when I'm sick, to let my body heal. But that's been rough. It's funny you mentioned foraging. That's one of the big things that I really leaned into this year because I want to have, cooking adjacent hobbies, right? So I still feel like I'm being productive, but I get to connect with the food.
Right.
And foraging has been something that's always been super important to me.
I remember that from our first conversation that when we were talking, like that's what lit you up was the using all of the plants.
Yeah.
What do you say? Root to flower or
root to fruit.
Root to fruit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you're able to like kind of reconnect with what got you here in the first place.
So I'm out, I really pushed this year. I was out almost every single morning from May through November.
That's awesome.
And there's, I went from just foraging dewberries to now I'm foraging like 15 different things.
That's cool.
And it's a lot of fun.
Restaurant owners, what if I told you there was a way to lower your prime cost by $1,000 month over month and get paid $1,000? That sounds like a deal too good to be true, but that's exactly the deal that Restaurant Systems Pro is offering 10 of my lucky listeners. So why are they doing this? Because they consistently help their clients get between 15 and 25% profit in their business. And when they approach new clients and say, I can do the same thing for you, they get met with a lot of resistance. And because it sounds too good to be true, most restaurants think if you do between 5 and 10%, you're doing good. So to hit 15 or 25%, like what do we have to sacrifice? What scam are you throwing at me, sir? No, thank you. But the truth is they really do help people hit these numbers. And the way they do it is by having all the most important systems that are tied to profitability fully integrated into an enterprise solution. I'm talking like accounting, inventory, scheduling, checklists, training systems, general ledger, balance sheets, costing cards. So when you have all those systems dialed in, ironclad, tied, connected, fully integrated in an enterprise solution, you get data. And when you have data, you can make little tweaks here and there. And those little tweaks, you can see the fruits of your labor, the effects of your efforts. And that's how you hit 15 and 25% profit. And on top of all this, they also have support, which is unheard of in today's age. So you get all these things compounded that help you hit that 15 to 25%. And if I have your attention, keep listening. Join the Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day Prime Cost Challenge, and if you successfully improve your Prime Cost by $1,000 or more compared to the same 30-day period last year, they will pay you $1,000. If you're listening on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, find the show notes, and we will have a link titled Restaurant Systems Pro 30-day Prime Cost Challenge. Click that link and get signed up today. Only 10 spots, guys. Do not wait. Get your spot, lower your prime cost by $1,000 and get paid that $1,000. They're actually calling this a reverse guarantee. Get on it.
You know what pisses me off?
What's that?
That we're told that that we need the current food system, or even with the current food system, we're not going to be able to feed the world.
Right. There's a lack of knowledge.
I'm not making any noise, but if you're watching the video, like I'm making faces. Like I find it so hard to believe that with all like the earth is so able to produce, or we're just not having enough people who are interested in producing good food.
Well, like, some of it is, we're destroying the dirt
because of
monoculture.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not giving it back what it needs. We're taking from it and not giving. But also, planting grass, being worried about our carpet lawns. I have a neighbor, she's super sweet. She's an older widow and she's terrified of everything. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do when they start controlling our food systems? And I said, well,
they already do.
I know. I was like, I've got chickens and a rabbit and there's like 15 different plants in my backyard I can eat. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll make it happen.
What is she talking about when they start controlling our food?
The government.
The government.
She's a little conspiracy.
Oh, what is there? Something?
Laden.
Is that another?
It's more popovers
coming
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Nice. I love how your timer isn't like rough.
So
it's
the rationale is fantastic. But you can change the tones on the timers. And so every now and then somebody will get bored and put it on like Christmas music. And it is the most obnoxious thing on earth.
So you guys still rocking the rationale. We talked a lot about that last time.
Yeah, we have a double stack now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Rationale, if you're listening to this and you want to support a podcast, let's talk.
If you want to give us free ovens, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, let's do that too. Look us up. Back to this idea of like the food system. We're a little ahead. The fun thing about talking to past guests is I jump around all over the place because now there's rapport, and I think it's important that we talk about the future too, because right now I think the restaurant industry is the most well positioned industry to change things.
Yeah,
I just heard recently that it's the second largest industry behind government, and it used to be behind healthcare. And it was the third, but we just surpassed healthcare because of the amount of money, because the cost of goods are going up, that the revenue is going up, and we just passed healthcare. I don't know. You might have to fact check me on that one. But second largest industry in the world, second to government, and the most human. I used to say like the second was healthcare, and that's like, even though we're like taking like literally saving people's lives, it's so transactional. It's sick care. It's not healthcare.
Right.
Food is healthcare.
That's what I was going to say. It's
hospitality.
interesting to think, you know, for me, and I'm a little, you know, hippie. But anytime I start to get sick or feel weird, like that's the first thing I look at is what am I eating? What's, you know, what do I need to change? What's not sitting right with me? You know, and I do a lot of things like making fire cider and using food to,
apothecary.
Yeah. Like when I get sick, it's immediately like ginger tea and chicken soup.
Food is medicine.
Yeah. So it's cool to hear that we've surpassed healthcare.
Well, yeah, you know, it's exciting times because I think that also the consumer is starting to wake up to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all connected, and I think that if we practice conscious capitalism and we really start sharing like more about how the world works and how the human body works and how the ecosystem works, it's all connected.
Yeah.
And when you look to our past and you study ancient civilizations like the Mayans and like people who lived in the Amazon and how we were just wholly sustainable and we like were able to manage these natural resources and flourish. And then you look at how people lived in like small groups, like tribal behavior,
and how people took care of each other.
Right. It's like if we study that and then say, well, this is like where really like civilization peaked before we started to, you know, control everything. How do we recreate that in business? How do we recreate that in community?
The whole taking care of each other thing just reminded me, and it's probably a far stretch, but that's how my head works. In Lockhart, there was all the restaurants were kind of pitted against each other when we first came in, and everybody was.
Where is Lockhart relative to Austin?
It's about 20 miles southeast.
Okay, so everyone was pitted against each other.
Yeah, everybody was just very like dog eat dog. I've seen that a lot in Austin. It kind of comes and goes. But trying to get restaurants on the square to understand that the better we all are, the more people come to the square, the better it is for everyone.
We have to educate each other.
Yeah, so that taking care of each other thing, we've really seen that grow in Lockhart. You know, now there's a text thread. All the restaurant owners on the square. Somebody needs POS paper. Somebody brings POS paper. You know, it's
toilet paper.
Yeah,
flour.
Right? Yeah, anything. If the health inspector's on the square, we all know immediately. Things like that. And it's been really cool to see.
And, you know, that's what it's all about. And when I say inspire, empower, and transform the industry, I think if we're going to change the industry, and ultimately, if we change the restaurant industry, we change the world, it has to come from the inside out. We can't point our finger and say, somebody's going to do something about this.
Yeah.
No, I need to do something about this.
We're also
we
stubborn,
need
too.
to do something about this.
Yeah.
And when the owners start coming together, working together in a community, that will change a community.
Yeah.
You know, that ripples out. Revolution started in bars.
Right.
You know, like we have influence. We don't realize how much influence we have. It's really exciting when you think about it.
It feels good, you know, to see. It's like building the culture in the restaurant, building the culture among the restaurant owners.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
So now over the past few years since the culture at Lockhart started to change, like how is it better? What are the differences you've seen?
Oh, there's a lot more teamwork amongst the businesses. There's a lot.
What does that look like? Are you sharing resources like you mentioned?
Yeah,
before?
sharing resources, sharing information, coming together like during festivals. Like, hey, can we or can't we put a bar out front? You know, how are you navigating it? What issues do you see? You know, just making sure that we're, instead of being like, well, I know how I'm going to do it, and hopefully they get shut down.
An edge on you.
You know, right? Like it's more of just trying to create that teamwork, make sure we're all on the same team. Like all of us want downtown to be busy, right? The more options people have, the more people are coming down. But it's just the teamwork aspect of it. Then not like when we first came into Lockhart, there was a business owner on the square that was literally calling in TABC, what he thought was TABC violations on another restaurant repeatedly because he was mad that they were there. He got into a huge fight with me online because he was mad that the farmers market on the square didn't have porta potties. And I said, hey, our restaurant's open during the farmers market. People are welcome to use our bathrooms if that's, you know, a fix. because for
He
me,
got mad at you for that?
yeah, because he was trying to pick a fight. He felt like that the farmers market booths were encroaching on his sales.
Oh,
Right. For me, if somebody walks through the restaurant, they're going to smell the popovers. They're going to see the facility. They're going to see that it's a clean restaurant. They're going to hear the hospitality from the staff. They're going to use the clean bathroom. And then maybe they're going to come back for their birthday, or, next time they're out on the square and they need to have a lunch, they're going to be like, oh, I used the bathroom at that place. It looked really cool. I want to go. So for me, every person that walks through the door is a potential sale. So having the farmer's market there is people coming in. So I was excited about it. He got mad at me. I guess he was trying to throw a fit. I offered a logical explanation. He called me lots of nasty names. And that's how it was on the square.
yeah.
When we got there. And now that's not there. And actually, so he still operates in Lockhart. He's not on the square anymore, but has started engaging with our post and being supportive. And it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Transformation.
finally, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like his restaurant, but I didn't like him as a person. So now I feel comfortable when people.
We don't want him to hear this and stop getting, we want to discourage you.
Yeah, no. And it was like before people would ask me how I felt about the restaurant, and I'd have to kind of be fake or, navigate the question, navigate around it.
Yeah.
But now I feel comfortable saying, hey, yeah, it's great. This is the type of food they have.
Right.
I
love that. I love this. And this reassures that I'm on the right path with what I'm trying to do with Restaurant Unstoppable and developing RU Network. Where literally, you will be joining us. You agreed. We don't have the date yet, but a month after this goes live, you will make yourself available to join me for coffee. We call it Coffee with Eric, and
love it.
Every Monday, owners across the country get together and we just talk.
Yeah.
And if there's something that you hear in today's episode that you're curious about, Sarah's going to be there to talk about it. And we just share information. And my hope is that I grow Restaurant Unstoppable to have thousands and thousands of restaurants in my community and people are talking, although that would be great. And it would really support this mission. My hope is that it gets you comfortable talking to other restaurants. So you talk to the people in your own community and so people can be, if they don't live in a community where people are supportive like that, they're afraid to go talk to people. Yeah. But I think the reality is most people do want to talk. So if it gives you that practice of getting used to talking to other owners, that's my hope. Well,
and it's if you think about it, our health insurance surcharge came from our visit to California where we saw that practice and we're like, oh, that's one way for our teeny tiny restaurant to offer health insurance. But it would have been, we did a lot of research and read a lot of articles, but it would have been so nice to talk to some of the restaurants that had implemented that and seen, obviously the laws are different in California, but to see the struggles that they had.
Right. The only way we're going to make this happen is by communicating and not competing with each other. So there's this Western culture of individualism. Yeah. Right. It's a beautiful thing. Let's be honest. We are what we are. We need, hear me out. If you're not watching this, you would have seen Sarah give me a little bit of I don't know about that, but I'm reading this book right now and I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. It was referred to me by Rudy Mick, past guest on the show. I always have Rudy on. I love Rudy. Ken Wilber, A Brief History of Everything, I think is the name of the title. And it literally, he just simplifies how the universe works. And in that book, the very first chapter, he talks about holons, HOLON, holon. And everything in the universe is a holon. And a holon is defined as something that is complete on its own and also a part of something else. And everything in the universe, like this microphone is a complete microphone. It is a microphone on its own, but it's a part of a recording system when it's connected to everything else. Yeah. And it needs this interface and the software.
And it has all these parts inside of it.
And I overlay it with the software to be able to get the video, and together that is a podcast, a video podcast. A video podcast is whole, so it's like that. So that where I'm going with this is that everything has to have autonomy. It needs to be an individual and it has to be a part of something else. Yeah. So that is a community. That is a restaurant owner is a part of a restaurant. The restaurant is a part of a community, and there's hierarchies. People hate the word hierarchy, but they're necessary. The reason why people don't like hierarchies is because usually hierarchies are associated with dominant hierarchies, and that's bad. But we all have to be a part of something else. Where I'm going with this is every holon has agency, and community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on a spectrum. And the trick is to find balance.
Yeah.
Like you have to have agency.
Well, and to recognize that being part of that community plays back into who you are as a person.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is we need to redefine values and reorganize our culture as a society to say, what do we care about? How do I have agency, freedom to do what I love, to do what I'm passionate about, to have purpose and have that purpose contribute to something greater? Yeah. And it's finding that balance of purpose and agency that also adds value. That's conscious capitalism. That is doing things to make the world better. Doing the hard thing usually. And that's the thing. The thing that makes everything better is usually the hard thing. Yeah. But this gentleman you're talking about, he was on the far extreme of agency, me, I want to win. And that's Western culture. Yeah. More. I. Yeah. How much can I get? How can I be the best?
Yeah. Instead of welcoming in new business to bring new business to the square, he was feeling threatened by.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, what if we redefine what it means to be the best?
Right.
What if the best is the person who makes sure their community is the healthiest?
Yeah. Well, and having competition is the only way to really push yourself to be better, whether it's competition with yourself, with your past self, or with other people. But for me, it's more exciting to have a healthy competition with other people. Like, oh, the restaurant next door got toast handhelds. Well, I'm going to look into that. Right. Like, I'm going to see how that's working for them. I'm going to see if that works for us, or they started using a better cut of meat. Like, do I need to reevaluate my cut of meat? Like, it just challenges you to constantly evaluate what you're doing and make sure that you're being the best that you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm really enjoying the conversation. How long have we been going? I'm curious. I haven't even looked at the time. An hour and about almost 20 minutes we've been rocking. So we haven't really talked about Commerce Café. When did you open that?
May of 2020.
Oof.
Yeah. It was a rough time.
Well, I feel like that is actually so you opened after everything went to shit.
Yeah.
So you didn't
signed the lease on the building 2 days before the shutdown.
Oh, okay. That's rough.
Yeah. When the shutdown happened, we considered seeing if we could back out of the lease. But we were in love with the building and the location. And I grew up in Lockhart. So it was a weird moment because I never thought I'd be back. But we felt like it was a good time. It was a good location. We were, like I said, a little ahead of the market. But I think that's the best time to get in, get your foothold before it's super competitive. And ultimately we did buy the building, but we were in a lease for a couple of years there.
So how did the market change?
People gave us a lot of pushback when we opened for pricing, because
pull that mic just a little bit closer.
Yeah, sorry. When we first opened, pricing was a big hot ticket with the community because we were definitely the highest priced. Because everything was handmade, labor is high. We wanted to make sure that we're paying our staff a living wage. And we also do full tip pooling, so it's a little different. But so even the kitchen gets tipped. Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that.
Are you using any tools to manage that tip pooling?
Excel. I'm an Excel nerd. I like to say I'm a freak in the sheets. But I use Excel primarily because I have it set up on a sheet that is pretty plug and play. So I could pay another software company to do it and integrate, but realistically to run payroll for 45 staff members, it's still only taking me about an hour. Yeah. So I don't feel like I need to. And then I get eyes on it. So if something's off, I'm catching it before it goes through, versus with a computer, I'd be apt to just skim it, right? And maybe miss it. But I'm physically looking at the hours put in, those auto clock outs, people that miss things. And then sometimes tip reporting is off. So if something feels off, it clicks in my head. I go back and look at it. So
got it.
I'm pretty happy with the Excel sheet right now.
How does your team like the tip pulling?
It's been hit or miss, but we started off at Commerce. So we're 5 years into it. They understand it. They see the benefits of it. They understand that even if we have a bummer of a shift, they're still going to make the same that they normally do, hourly. So they're not, resentful of making $2.15 an hour when we're slow. Yeah. Right. Also, we see the kitchen helping out significantly at both places. So when we started doing tip pooling, we started seeing the kitchen at F&D be more conversative with the guest, more observant, whether or not they were observant before. They're more apt to tell us things like, hey, table 30 didn't look like they liked that first bite of risotto. Can you check on them? Or,
right.
Hey, 31's looking around. So they're really communicative now.
Because it affects everybody.
Right. And whereas in Austin at F&D, they're kind of locked in on the line. At Commerce, they're not. The kitchen's open on both sides. So what we see is when the servers are busy, the cooks now know the table numbers. They'll run food out. They'll talk to the guest. Everybody seems to understand now that the happier the guest is, the faster the food goes out, the more tips they're making.
The more they're likely to come back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
It's really incentivized the kitchen to take an active role in the hospitality.
Right. There's something that hasn't come out of today's discussion yet, which I think is really important. You own this building and Commerce.
We do.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a big step. Real estate is my other fun hobby, and likely the only way I'm going to retire.
Well, I think it's really important. I mean, if that's a hobby,
too.
we should definitely go deeper into this and kind of understand your approach and what you need to know if this this should be part of the business model, I think.
Right.
So you own 2 properties, anything else?
I have 2 rental houses, my home, and technically I own a flip house right now. I'm in the process. I just partnered up with somebody. So they're funding the whole flip, which is fantastic.
Are you doing the work?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. I grew up in construction. My dad's been in construction my whole life.
How still? Like, even if you know what you're doing, where do you find the time?
There's not really time, but it's worth it because you want to get into the nitty gritty. This one flip house is going to pay me out. It's a 4-month flip, and it's going to pay me out more than my salary from both restaurants for 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's worth it. And then again, having that team that I can rely on to handle things when I'm not here, being able to trust them when I'm not here to do things the way I would. That's super important. It gives me the freedom to go, especially when I'm in a burnout stage like I am right now. I come in, I put out a special. I know service is going to be good. I let them handle it. And then I go work on the house. It gives my brain that break that it needs.
Yeah. You have to focus on what you're doing right in front of you. There's no more mental, like you're doing work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for somebody who wants to get into real estate?
That first down payment is the hardest because you need 20% for an investment property. So that's a big deal. But save up for that. And then what I did, honestly, was I took my first house that I bought as a homestead. And when I bought the house that I live in now, turned that into a rent house, saved all the rent from that. And then when I eventually sold that, turned that into 2 more rent houses.
So you're basically saving the money, growing profit account, and then using that profit to pay off debt and or buy more assets. Yeah.
So all of the money from the rent houses goes into a separate account. And once that gets to the amount of another down payment, I let it grow another 10, 15,000 for renovations and then buy another property.
So you get the down payment and then you get $15,000 worth of renovations just to put some lipstick on it and get somebody in there right away.
Yeah. And generally the houses that I've bought have been in horrendous condition, to put it nicely. So that 10, 15,000 does, some drywall work, mostly supplies, I'm doing a lot of the work myself. So not paying a lot of labor, which is why I'm able to do it in that $10,000 to $15,000 range.
Yeah. And as you buy more and more properties, are you continuing this practice of taking all the rent? So you're basically exponentially, you're going to get to that down payment in $15,000 faster because now you have more units going into that account.
Yeah, it's like a little multi-level marketing scheme with just me.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just exponential growth, right?
Instead of people's houses working for me.
Yeah.
The hard thing is, like, since June, I've had both rentals empty, so that I was very close to buying another rent house, and now I've eaten through a significant amount of that. But the market's coming back, so I actually got applications on both houses this week, and
that's awesome.
Stoked.
That's cool. I mean, I think it's really important to diversify your portfolio.
Right. You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right. So back to Commerce. Any big lessons? This is the first restaurant that you started from scratch because you took over Foreign and domestic was a Ned Elliott concept that, turnkey, you just moved in, already had loyal. Like that is a great approach for your first restaurant. Not your vision, not your dream, but an established, well-respected restaurant, and you were someone's exit strategy.
It's almost scarier, to enter a restaurant that is well-respected and to have to hold yourself to the standards and to, am I going to be good enough to keep it respected?
Right.
It's a little scary.
So how was Commerce different for you guys? Any new challenges?
I would say building the culture from the ground up was interesting.
What was the struggle with that?
You hire an opening staff and you hope that they're all good, but then having to call the people that don't want to be a part of that culture or having to explain
that they aren't a part of the culture.
Right. That they're not as great as they think they are usually. Usually it's somebody who's super egotistical and they're like, well, I'm the best server you have. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't matter because you're toxic.
Yeah.
So having to explain to people that that's a whole concept, but also going into Lockhart and that culture not existing in any other restaurant as far as we saw, we hired all locals. So having to teach them, that, you can't just get drunk on the job because it's there.
Yeah.
Teaching them those things like holding themselves accountable, holding themselves, not gossiping at work, not talking politics with people at the tables, not, creating that welcoming space that is not about themselves. It's about the guest. In a town that we didn't feel like that had existed before. It was really interesting.
Yeah. How'd you overcome it?
Constant gentle pressure.
Yeah. Another line from Danny Meyer.
Sometimes less gentle than other times.
Yeah.
I hate to say that the biggest thing I've learned is to fire people quickly, but it is. It's to give a couple of chances, to give as much redirection as I possibly can, to give them all the tools they need to be successful within our business. But then if I see that they're not making the effort to utilize the tools or to make the changes that are necessary to get them out, right? Before they poison the well.
Right. A huge fan of EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system. Are you familiar with that? It's check out the book Traction if you want to learn more. That's where Gino Wickman introduces the concept. But they talk about get it, want it, have the capacity to do it.
Right.
If you're ever putting somebody in a position, they have to get it. Meaning that they have to understand it. They have to want it. They have to have a desire to move into that position. And they have to have the capacity to do it. They have to either have the skills that you trained or or
be in the right headspace. We've had people that we let go because they couldn't and they worked somewhere else for a couple of years and then they came back and they were like, hey, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I understand what you were trying to do. I'm ready.
Or maybe their plate was too full. Maybe they
just had other things going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I want to make sure we talk about 2024 because you said that was probably your roughest year.
Yeah.
What made 2024 your roughest year?
It kind of all ties into that culture. We lost a bit of our culture after COVID because we were so desperate for guests. I, as a young owner, was still of the mindset that, we are open no matter what. I'm not closing sections. If we're short people, I'm going to jump in and be a server and shirk my other duties. It was such a martyr thing. In the last couple of years, we've learned that, if we're short a server, I'm going to move tables. I'm going to shut a section down, right? We're going to limit reservations. Not being so desperate to just have money come in the door that we're losing what we are as a restaurant.
Sacrificing values.
Right. Yeah. Prior to this year, we would have never closed during a freeze. It would have been Nathan and I dealing with the ice and getting up here to run the restaurant and whoever else could get here. But why? Guests don't need to be coming in.
Right.
It's not necessary. And the fact was everybody had been to HEB in the last 2 days and cleared everything out and everybody needed to eat that food. So nobody was coming in anyway. Right. So why would we not make the decision to close? It's all those little mindset changes that have made a huge difference in the last couple of years.
So getting away from those bad habits of feeling like you have to keep up with the Joneses in terms of being unreasonable with your life.
Yeah.
You know?
That's where unreasonable hospitality is actually unreasonable.
Right. And I
Yeah.
actually push back. I think that book is great. There's a lot of great gems in that, but I also think that we shouldn't be doing unreasonable things.
Right. Like at what cost?
If it's out of reason, then like who's really like, is that sustainable?
Well, some ways. I see some things like, you know, we've had people ask, they're like, hey, I'm on my first date. Can you put a flower on the table? And if I'm going by HEB and I can pick up a flower and it's a couple bucks, fine.
Yeah. Or like, you know, making that happen. There's a million spots in town you can get a flower.
There are limits. Yeah.
And I think it's also important to point out that Will Guidera and 11 Madison, they are in one of the richest markets in the world, serving the richest people in that market.
Yeah.
And
they have the means to be unreasonable.
And it's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to eat at that restaurant, which means they have this unlimited, like, not, I mean, it's not unlimited, but they, if your thing is to juxtapose and to stand out from everybody, and you can own that niche by hiring people whose job it is to write thank you letters, and like that is their job. Yeah. And you can add that to the expense list and, you know, cover it with the giant bill. We all can't do that. Right. But there's other ways to be unreasonable or to just instead of being unreasonable, the whole idea of being unreasonable is just, it's juxtaposition. It's like people wouldn't expect that. There's other ways to do
it's a marketing scheme, honestly.
Yeah.
Like there's some degree of hospitality to it, but there's also a marketing aspect to it.
I used to say that you can measure your level of hospitality by the level of inconvenience. If somebody asks you to do something and it's inconvenient, the more inconvenient it is, the more generous it is. And that's hospitality. Lean into it. But to your point, we are so generous. We're giving all the meat away. Yeah. And there's no meat left on the bone. Yeah. So what happens when there's nothing left to give? And like, that's the balance we have to figure out.
Yeah. Like, what are you sacrificing in order to do that? And for me, a huge part of that was I hate saying this, I sacrificed being a mom. Like, I am a mom and I have missed numerous things. I just played Tooth Fairy for my niece the other day. And as I'm trying to get this tooth out from under the pillow, I was like, I've never done this. I have a 14-year-old and I was never part of this. Yeah. And so there's a lot that comes from, you know, being on the phone, responding to reviews at home, doing payroll at home, you know, trying to navigate everything and not delegating those things, like, and being unreasonable, you know, oh, our regulars are coming in on my day off, so I need to be at the restaurant. Why am I doing that? Yeah. It's okay for me not to be there. And that's almost egotistical that the only reason they would want to be there is to see me. Right? Like, why is that what we all fall into?
Right. So we're at the point of the conversation where we're kind of where we are today, present point. We kind of unpacked our tech stack. We went deep into that. I would like to know, as you have evolved into this woman you are today, more self-aware, more conscious of the future you want for yourself. Yeah. What is the plan? What is the strategy? What is the future for you in the industry?
To have a comfortable life and to be proud of what I'm doing and to be proud of the staff that I have and to not have any questions of myself.
How do you achieve that?
By making decisions based on humans. By making, you know, if I used to be so terrified of the restaurant closing that I made decisions solely based on that. And I've learned specifically over the last couple of years that the only way for the restaurant to be viable is if the staff inside of it are happy and taken care of. And I've learned to pull a lot of pride and a lot of self-fulfillment from knowing that our staff are happy and healthy.
Yeah. You pointed out that you're kind of in the, what was the word you used? You were like in the dumps, but you didn't use that word. You're
burnout stage.
Burnout stage. Yeah. Are you coming out of that? Are you still in it?
A little bit. Yeah. I started running specials again in the last couple of weeks, which feels good. I think some of it's seasonal. You know,
Oh, 100%.
I love foraging, and there's not much to forage right now.
I'm somebody who definitely struggles with seasonal depression.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I get in a camper and go south
Right.
in the winter.
Yeah. And then it's just been, you know, it's been really heavy. I mean, I'm super thankful that our banquets are kicking off, catering's kicking off at Commerce, but it's a lot. And this is our first really busy year with catering, so it's taking a lot of hands-on training. And so that's been a lot. And then holidays happened and going through some life changes, and it's just been a lot the last couple of months. And then everybody I know has a birthday in, you know, November, December, and January. So it's been a lot.
If I could wave a wand, and give you your perfect 10-year vision for yourself, paint the picture. What does your life look like?
Yeah, I'd like to be. It sounds silly, but I'd like to be out of the restaurant more. I'd like to really focus more on training the CDC and being able to afford a front of house manager here, and learning to manage the managers more than managing a staff. Right. I'd like to be less in the restaurant, which is something I never thought I'd ever say, but I'm learning that there's a lot of great things that happen when you're free to fix the issues. Like if somebody calls out and I'm like, oh, well, I can, you know, maneuver this or change this, or something breaks, I have the time to go fix it, versus before I was like, well, I have to work a station on the line, so I have to go in 2 hours early to fix this. And then my day is now 2 hours longer. And just giving myself the freedom to actually fix the issues as they happen has made me a lot less reactive to the issues. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't think it's crazy to see that you want to get out.
And to be creative with, you know, the marketing and the PR. That's something that's been kind of sidelined, right? Like I do it because we can't really afford to have a marketing and PR company, but I'm also not doing it because I'm so tied up in operations.
So back to this word Holland. HOLON. The other cool thing about Hollands is they're either, you know, like wholly on agency or it's a balance of agency and community, but all Hollands are either ascending or descending. You're either ascending the hierarchy or you're dying. Yeah. Right. And I think that as a Holland, each of us are Hollands, you are a Holland. Yeah. Our goal is to ascend. And if you're not ascending, if you're not moving up the hierarchy, then you're dying.
Right.
So I think that it makes sense that we want to, and when you think of moving up the hierarchy, I think it's not necessarily removing yourself wholly from the business, but it's what are the 20% of things only I should do?
Yeah.
And how do I ascend to focus my energy on those things so I can get even better at those things I already love and I'm already good at? How do I ascend on those things? And how do I create opportunity for others to ascend by offloading these responsibilities to giving those things to people who love those things? How do I create opportunity for others to ascend? So I think that is the goal, is to remove ourselves and to climb the hierarchy to create more opportunity to maybe open more restaurants, buy more properties, and create more opportunity for different people. And you're out there strategizing, marketing, finding the properties, reinvesting into assets to create more and more opportunity. That should be the goal. Right. That doesn't sound crazy. That's good.
It's just weird to say as a chef. It's totally counter from anything that I ever thought. You know, I thought I'd be cooking on the line till the day I die.
But there's so many people that are where you were when you were 19 years old that are chomping at the bit for that opportunity. Yeah. And you are now Lisa.
Yeah.
You know? And if you listen to episode 654, you know who Lisa is. Yeah. You can be that person that gives opportunity and you will never forget her. And that's what it's all about.
Like for her to give me at the age of 19 the opportunity to be in management is insane.
And but you have to remove yourself.
If she
was taking up that role. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Yeah. What do you think has to change in the industry in order for that to happen?
Oh man. I think the industry still struggles a lot with ego. And I think that being able to set yourself aside is such a huge thing. And I'm not going to say that it's an easy thing to navigate, but getting rid of that martyr mentality, getting rid of the ego, and being able to focus on the art without tearing everything else apart is incredibly important. And just giving ourselves grace, right? Like, I know I'm not feeling it today, so I'm not going to just go in and push with every, ounce of my body. I'm going to say, okay, what can I accomplish today that feels good? And then what needs to be pushed till tomorrow, right? Till I feel it.
Has anything not come out of today's conversation that you want to make sure comes out? A message you want to share, a thought?
Not that I can think of. I did. You were talking about books earlier, and JC, a chef in town, suggested that I read a book that, if you haven't read, it's fantastic, called Leaders Eat Last.
Ooh, Simon Sinek.
Yes, Simon Sinek.
Get behind that. What was your biggest lesson from that book?
Just about leadership and what it actually takes to put yourself aside and the changes that you make in order to be a good leader versus a good boss.
I think it was in that book he gets into the chemical like concoction that is our body of like serotonin, dopamine, and all these different things. I can't remember how he ties it back to the book.
I need to read it again.
Yeah,
it's been almost a year, but
I thought that was fascinating.
It definitely stuck with me. And then there's a book that actually one of our clients, who is a CEO of a company, gave me, and it's called, I think, Strength to Strength. I could be wrong on that. It's strength, but I can't remember what the middle word is.
Do you know who the author was?
I don't remember, but I'll get it to you.
Strength to Strength. Let me see if I can't find it.
Yeah. But it talked a lot about transitioning from like the doer role into the wisdom and teacher role.
Ascending.
And it's just part of growing, right? Your growth. And that was super.
From strength to strength,
yes.
Finding success, happiness, and deep purpose.
That's it.
Sick. I'm going to have to add this to my wish list too. Okay. A couple of questions before we officially wrap it up. What is one thing about your business, a value, a process that's truly uncommon that makes you unstoppable?
I think the ability to adjust, to say, hey, the restaurant wants this, so let's make the change, right? To not be like, this is what I want for the restaurant, so that's how we do it. To say, hey, the guests are asking for this, the building's asking for this, let's make this change.
The mission statement is to change the world by inspiring, empowering, and transforming the restaurant industry. I think we're going to do that, transforming one person at a time. How have you personally transformed? How are you a better woman today than the woman you were when you got started?
I would say I'm still ambitious, but it's not my only character anymore. I actually have some human to me.
What's your most proud characteristic?
Empathy.
I love that. If you got the news, you'd be leaving this world tomorrow. All the memories of you, your work, and your restaurants would be lost with your departure, with the exception of 3 pieces of wisdom that you could leave behind for the good of humanity and your legacy. What would those 3 pieces of wisdom be?
Embrace humility.
1.
Learn everything you possibly can.
2.
And be a part of something.
3. This has been a lot of fun, Sarah. Thank you so much. I'm really trying to lean into being a journalistic podcast. I don't want to be the one to decide who gets made an example of. I think success recognizes success. And if change is going to happen, it's going to come from the inside of the industry. People who know the industry, who know who needs to be made an example of. Dustin Teague told me to talk to you. I said, I will talk to her again because you're right. She is awesome. So who do you respect and admire in the industry? Somebody who's doing it right, who's running a tight ship.
Yeah.
Preferably somebody who's also making money while they're doing it, because we know that's a hard nut to crack. And I'm trying to find these people to learn from them. Who is that for you?
Yeah. I would say Joanne Irizarry. She's become one of my mentors, as far as business, but also entrepreneurship and mental health.
What's her business?
She owns Thorn and Bread and Barb's BQ in Lockhart. And then she's also an accountant. She's in real estate.
Damn.
Yeah, she wears many, many hats.
Joanne Arzoet.
Irizarry.
Irizzotti.
Irizarry.
That's Italian name, I think, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. She's
go ahead.
well, I think it's a married name. I was going to say she's Puerto Rican, but that doesn't make sense. I think it was her married last name.
Got it. Joanne, look out. I'm coming after you. I'd love to get you on the show. And how can we connect with you if today's conversation really resonated with us?
Yeah.
And we want to maybe come check out your restaurants or connect with you.
Yeah. Instagram's honestly the best. It pops up on my phone right away. So, and it's at chef.herd.
Got it. And you did say you are willing to come hang out for coffee with Eric.
Yeah, I love coffee.
Yeah.
I love Eric.
Thank you very much. And so stick around to the closing thoughts. We're going to find a date and we'll let you know when that date is so you guys can join us. And if you want to be a part of that conversation and all future conversations, head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live to join the community. And thank you in advance for supporting this mission. This is where I say, Sarah, it was a true honor to make an example of you again. I can't say thank you enough for getting open, getting vulnerable, sharing the realities, not putting up a front, not, trying to let your ego get in the way, but really just getting vulnerable. I think we need more of that in the industry. And I just can't say thank you enough. There is no questioning, Sarah. You are unstoppable.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been an honor to be here again.
Thank you. Cheers.